Hello and a very warm welcome to the programme. When a fire ripped through a building in Dagenham during the summer, it destroyed 60 flats, a gym and a nursery, and around 80 residents had to be evacuated from the building, which was shrouded in scaffolding at the time because non-compliant cladding was in the process of being removed. Today, demolition of the building has begun. Our reporter Barry Caffrey is at the site for us with more. Barry.
Riz, this is Spectrum House here in Dagenham, and you might be able to make out just over my shoulder some of the lorries that arrived here earlier today to start the demolition of this building. It was in the early hours of the August bank holiday, the summer bank holiday, that people were awoken at around 3 o'clock in the morning by fire alarms going off. A fire engulfed the top 2 floors of this building, and more than 80 people had to be evacuated, and non-compliant cladding was being removed from the outside of the building at the time. Now, in the days that followed, the residents were being looked after at a local leisure centre, Becontree Leisure Centre, by members of the council, the London Borough of Barking and Dagenham, and indeed that council provided them with some hotels and temporary accommodation to get them on their feet. But one of the things the residents were telling me was a real lack of communication, both by the owners and by the building's management company. Well, I spoke to one resident a little earlier, Irina Vasil, who lived in this building, Spectrum House, for just over 3 years, and she told me what life has been like since the blaze broke out.
It's very difficult. Every single day I have to buy something new, every single day since. Yeah, I lost everything there, documents from England and from back home as well, many documents, which I don't know, maybe takes years until I will make duplicates of them. And as I said, if I do cook or something, I still wear the clothes from donation because I lost everything there.
And Barry, what about the building owner, the management company and the council? What have they had to say?
Yeah, so we have been in touch with all of those organisations. I heard from Block Management UK Limited, who's the building's management company, a little earlier today. They said their thoughts are with everyone affected. They're doing their utmost within their remit to help where they can, but they say that the demolition of this building is being managed by the building's owners. Now, the building's owners are a company called Irinium Holding Limited, and the BBC has tried to contact Irinium Holding Limited on several occasions. We have been unable to do so. We haven't had any response. The London Borough of Barking and Dagenham, they don't have responsibility for this building, but they have managed to place some people into social housing. One thing is for sure, though, the residents won't be able to get into this building to access any of their belongings. Surveyors say the building is too unsafe and the building will be demolished by the end of January.
OK, Barry, with the latest there from Dagenham, many thanks. Well, the Dagenham fire happened just over a week before the Grenfell inquiry's final report was published. And today, as we've been hearing, the government has set out a timetable for fixing dangerous cladding, including target dates for making buildings safe and tougher penalties for landlords who refuse to act. London Fire Brigade estimates 1,300 buildings in the capital are still affected by fire safety issues. Here's our political editor, Tim Donovan.
The fire at the Spectrum Tower in Dagenham was a stark reminder of the danger, and London's fire chief told us just last week that progress in dealing with flammable cladding was welcome.
You see the operational risk for ordinary Londoners living in those blocks, and you see it in the firefighters who responded, for example, only a few weeks ago to a terrible fire in Dagenham and put themselves at great risk. So we're very motivated to do our best because we hold the operational risk at the other end of it.
7 years after what happened at Grenfell Tower, the government says remediation needs to happen more quickly. The cladding on high-rise towers covered by its safety funding must be fixed by the end of 2029.
Without decisive action, the risks and the hardship of unsafe cladding could be with us until 2040s. This cannot go on. This plan sets out how we'll fix buildings faster, identify remaining buildings that are still at risk and ensure that residents are supported through the remediation process.
Since Grenfell, only a third of tower blocks have had their cladding fixed. Some campaigners say the new assurances go only so far.
Well, it's good in the sense that accelerated remediations means the work will be done properly. However, our problem is that the remediations are seen as partial by the insurers, who are keeping the premiums extremely high because they're not removing all the combustible material off our homes. And to give you an example, my development with 1,000 people in it, they're trying to push flammable, combustible XPS panels on our fire shaft and not removing those as part of the remediation. And that is a concrete example of why our insurance will remain high after this remediation is done.
The government says there may be thousands of buildings where unsafe cladding hasn't even yet been identified. It says it hopes to work closely with developers, but there will be extra funding for enforcement, including fines and possibly criminal action. Tim Donovan, BBC London.